Thank you for the invitation. I come from China. Do you trust me?
Everything's good.
Well, appearances can be very misleading. Now my accent is a little bit like Latvian. Do you think I'm from Latvia? I am from Latvia, trust me. Well, I really am from Latvia, but that's not necessarily the way I speak. The way you hear me, the way I gesticulate, the way I move around, this is part of my identity, part of my personality. And what I'm trying to say here today is that the virtual environments that are used for serious games and for other purposes, obviously, could use richer identities. What do we have today? Today we have an avatar, somebody that looks like a person, maybe like a monster, I don't know. But sometimes it is good to have more information about who we are dealing with, especially when it comes to serious games, to serious stuff. Right? So today I'm going to look into what do I mean by getting identity, richer identity in virtual worlds for serious games. What are the options to get this identity information? Minecraft. We play Minecraft with my son. He's about 7 years old. And we love it. You know, Minecraft is a virtual world where you can build stuff from blocks. You can wander in wilderness, virtual wilderness. So the first time he fell in a deep ravine and died, it was a tragedy. The next time, when he got lost in deep forest, it was another tragedy. So we actually learned that when you get somewhere, it's good to capture situation first. It's good to analyze options, to decide what is the best solution possible, and then act, rather than, you know, stop whining, just do something about it. And after you've done that, you better learn from your mistakes and you prevent proactively. I believe this could be also applied to many areas, including security, right, in cyberspace or everywhere. So speaking about serious games, what do serious games give us? I believe that previous speakers have told you already, but in general, changing behaviors, developing skills, enabling innovation. You know, not just learning stuff, not just beefing up our reflexes or our cognitive capabilities, but also to coming up with new solutions. And there are many virtual worlds. For example, World of Warcraft is one of them. And what's the significance of a virtual world? According to some research, there are about 5.9 million years spent gaming. Now, here's another example where you shouldn't believe everything that you read on the screen, right? This is million, not billion years. So to put it in context, this is as many years as have passed since we stood upright as human beings. Right? And there are a few other facts that you can see here. There are plenty of players. There are about to be 1 billion more players in the next decade. So it makes sense to attract them to serious games, either for security or for other good skill set to improve to learn. Right? Another fact is that there are about 80 million articles for World of Warcraft wiki page. Not wiki page, but wiki site. MediaWiki is the first largest. World of Warcraft wiki is the second largest. It's not just games, it's also serious games. I had the pleasure of visiting an offshore simulator center in Alsund, Norway. What they do there, they train crews of ships. They have a huge ball, 13 meters in diameter ball, and this view is in the middle of the ball, the captain's bridge, where they can steer a virtual ship. They see a real picture, well, almost real, virtual picture on the screen around them, generated by about 33 projectors. They do not need stereo vision there because the distance is about 6 meters. That means that our perception do not use the different pictures from the different eyes at this distance. And they learn. So they have quite a few stations like that. Another station is for the crane operator. Another is for the crane operator assistant, right? And here it is very important for the crane operator to see, not just to hear, but also to see the response by gestures and other body signals, so to say, of how to handle the cargo, how to prevent an injury, and so on. So this is a real environment. Gamification in industry has been applied to many areas. So what strikes me a little bit is when I'm trying to find security here, I fail, kind of. Maybe not quite fail. There might be some in education sector. There might be some in banking, financial services, and so on. But as for the security, it's not there. Is it because it's not important enough? It's up to you guys to decide. Right? So back to the topic, identity. What is the identity? The identity is our personality, is what we say, is how we perceive ourselves, is also how others perceive us, and so on. What we do, and so on, right? So why is it important? It's also important because if we want to bring identity to virtual worlds, we also need tools for displaying this identity, for capturing the identity. So it's not enough just for me to type, oh, I'm an easygoing guy, you know, and then virtual world is just going to present the easygoing guy avatar, right? We need, sometimes I'm not an easygoing guy. Right? We need sensors, we need systems to capture that, and I'm going to talk about that a bit later. It's also about what we carry to the virtual world of our identity. And also the other way around, once we spend some time on the virtual worlds, there have been studies that show that when we log off, so to say, then for a while, or even maybe forever, some of the traits from the online experience linger and stay. You know? Here's an example, right? If I want to wave to my friend, I'm just going to wave, hey, right? We've been using Skype, most of us have, I believe, and we probably learned that in the Skype, this does not work. Right? You need to bring it like this and don't move. Hello, I'm on Skype. Right? Is this good? Probably not so good. Can we do better? This is why I think we need to bring in the identity information in the virtual worlds, so that we do not quite restrict ourselves, so that we can act natural, so that also we can receive natural feedback from our peers in the serious game or in the online experience. Right? So what is it going to give us? We're going to feel more like talking to people, hopefully, and I believe in many cases we want to do that, although some don't. We're going to get better immersion in that test environment or educational environment, I believe. It's going to give us wider communication bandwidth. It's not going to be just words, just sound, but also our body language, our facial expressions, maybe something else. And it might also give us some security. So what do I mean by security? If I see, for example, a relative in the virtual world, I'm not sure that it's a relative, but if I meet him or her in the person, then I see all kinds of cues of body language, and I can say, yes, that's my guy. Right? Not always you should trust what you see in virtual world. Right? My buddy Abe here has said that a long time ago. Right? I'm not sure how long, but anyway. So here's another story of sort of impersonation. Right? There's a character in Second Life. It's called Bot Girl. And a person created this Bot Girl just to explore alternative personality, to blog about it. So in the end, she even published an ebook about, best moments in the virtual life and so on. So eventually, about a year and a half almost later, she revealed that, well, she's not she, but actually he. But in any case, so this is not a bad case, maybe, right? Maybe it's good to explore different aspects of your life. But it also shows the potential of how persevering can you fake a personality. In serious games, probably this is not what we want. So how do we capture an identity? How do we capture a personality? There's research that shows that we can label a personality traits, and bin them in sort of 5 classes, 5 categories. Right? And you can see some of the words describing them here. Right? But how do we capture them? Right? So therefore, I think it's time to talk about sensing modalities. Right? What do we capture in virtual world when we want to capture the identity or personality, or at least some part of it? Right? Well, the obvious things are text, typing, speech, interaction with physical objects, making objects as sensors, especially in the day of Internet of Things. This is going to become more and more active, I believe. Capturing movement, many different possibilities with on-body sensors, inertial measurement units, be it accelerometers, gyroscopes, magnetometers, and so on. Kinect by Microsoft is one of the famous devices used for that. Leap motion is another one that I'm going to show a little bit later. Basically, leap motion captures gestures of hands and fingers and so on. And finally, using just plain camera, right? We can use imaging processing software. How do we capture emotions? We can use camera. The software gets tricky there, but there are some things that we may do. And we may also capture vital signs, heart rate, galvanic skin response, and so on, and then derive some emotional or some other characteristics that might be worth conveying to the virtual world. Right? Now, not always you want, so I might say, or you might say, why don't we just use camera and relay our faces to the virtual world? Well, this is a project by a photographer, Philip Toledo, and what he does is he's taking pictures of people playing games. When we play games, not always we want our face to be conveyed to our, I don't know, partners in the game or so on. So maybe it's good to have something in between to capture our identity. Right? Another example is keystroke dynamics. Example for the fact that not everything when we type is being relayed to the other side. Right? There's more information there than just plain text. We can figure out, we can try to authenticate a person by using just dwell time, flight time, and some other properties. This is not easy. There are many challenges, but it's just an example. Now, once we have captured the identity, we need to relay it to the other person or other people on the side in the game field, so to say. And again, the obvious things are text, visual, be it flat screen or immersive screen all around us. We can respond with physical objects, physical world objects, from just lighting them up or even moving them around. And finally, we can augment our avatar depending on the traits, changing facial expressions and so on, giving emotional cues. Now, you might say it is very tough to capture emotions because we are all different, right? Yes, we are all different, even from different nations. However, there's a photographer, Mike Larimore, his project, the Faceboard project, he asked several people to portray certain emotions and then take pictures of them. And well, what he found out was that people from different groups, different genders, respond very similarly to different emotions. But then again, a lady tweeted, hey, my 18-month-old daughter is much more realistic than this. This is not real, right? Well, there might be some truth to that. However, there's a study by Finnish researchers that involves about 700 subjects to the study, and they were told and show stories and shown images and given content to evoke emotions, and then asked to capture on a blank human body picture, where do they feel, how do they feel, where do they feel stronger, and so on. And it turns out that depending on the emotions, again, there's a very common trait independent of ethnicity or even gender. Right? So that tells me that it is worth capturing the emotions if we can do it. And it turns out there's already a product out there. At least you can buy it. It's not shipping yet, though. It's very fresh. It's called Emo Spark, and well, hopefully they're going to succeed. But they say they can capture, by using image analysis and sound speech analysis, several emotions. I think it's 8 emotions: surprise, sadness, joy, trust, fear, disgust, anger, and anticipation. Right? There's even more, maybe advanced, not advanced, a different kind of capture tool by Microsoft Research. It's called howol.net. You can plug in your picture or any other picture from the internet, and it's going to tell your age. And I must say it was quite correct for my pictures, the recent ones and also the younger ones. But of course, not always it performs as well. The results may vary, right? These Disneyland, Disney princesses, I'm not sure. Well, who knows? Makeup does wonders these days. Another image analysis, semantic image analysis tool made by Stanford does a wonderful job. There are actually 2 neural networks working for this. One on the side of image analysis, the other on the side of text, capturing the text, and then matchmaking module, so to say. They have very many, very successful images, just like the one on the left, right? And of course, there are some things that we do not recognize quite. But then again, if I took off my glasses, maybe I'd say the same thing, that it's a cat sitting on a couch. Right? But the tools are there. That's my point. Here's another project by MIT Media Labs. It's a bit older, a few years old, where they are capturing all kinds of information in the environment whenever person walks around, and can respond with the projector, such as in the picture, it's projecting the calculator. If you pull out an airplane ticket, it's going to show you what's the arrival time is, or is it delayed, and so on. All kinds of things. You can look it up and, if you don't know about it. So I think it's very nice project and may change the world. But one of the benefits is that you don't have to be in a constrained environment. You can move around, and then you can do your serious gaming in the real facility, not just in the virtual facility. So in the previous one, the fingers were labeled with colors in order to capture their positions. In the Leap Motion device, in combination with Oculus Rift virtual headset, can actually, in real time, capture the position of the fingers and also the project of the fingers on the screen, right where they are. This opens many possibilities to interact in virtual worlds. This also opens many possibilities to capture the gestures of hands, of fingers, and so on, and then relay them to the virtual identity. Wow. The Oculus VR headset in itself is pretty amazing and game-changing, so to say. I think that the reason it is taking over the world, or started taking over the world, was because the field of vision is unrestricted. Right? Some might argue that Microsoft HoloLens is better, but I would say it's different, because the HoloLens project, it lets you see through the real world, and then it can occlude certain areas and project whatever the context, the environment tells you, right? So this way, you can look around in your apartment and observe fire, you know, and then you go on with your virtual fire. And there you go on and do the first virtual fire extinguishing. So this is the latest project that I have found. It's made by Second Life creator, and it's called High Fidelity. And the interesting thing about this, why I'm bringing it, is that you interact in this world. While you interact, you're taken on a webcam, and your face is analyzed. And your virtual character is mimicking all the movements of your face. So that way, when you speak, your mouth and cheeks and all the intricate muscles are also moving on the virtual character. And I think this has good potential for conveying more information just than text. So finally, from virtual world, from the screen, we can go out in the reality, and a group at Intel is creating, again, using physical sensors of physiology, creating emotional responses on the wearable computing, such as feeling happy or feeling angry, and so on. In the end, let me mention not such a encouraging note, maybe. Gartner has reviewed about 2,500 papers, and they have aggregated what are the outcomes from gamification. Right? The good news is that motivation for participants has increased to about almost everyone is very motivated after participating in the game. However, productivity is increased only by not even a third, 27%. And in many cases, quality or quantity of the task being managed has suffered after the game, surprisingly. And in about 46% cases, the productivity is showing insufficient evidence. We just cannot tell whether the productivity has increased or not. So why is that happening? Perhaps it is happening that we need professional user experience designers and behavioral economics experts that know about motivation, about gamification, about productivity, and so on, to involve when creating serious games. But it is possible. And I believe richer identity can help. So with this, I hope you're not the guy on the grass, and I'm ready to take some questions.
Right. Are there any questions? A lot of different tools and techniques have been reviewed and presented here. I have a question. So since gaming becomes so more and more relevant in our game environments and in our daily lives, and we are playing more and more, such as Minecraft, World of Warcraft, or any other games, would you foresee that in the future the virtual environments would be the ones where we actually go for work, where we live, and we do our daily chores?
I think it's been years already since quite a few people are making living out of living in virtual environments. One of the first evidences were in the Second Life, where people are doing sort of virtual landscaping, virtual real estate, and so on. So it's sort of a no-brainer. It has happened already. Whether a majority of us is going to do it, that I just don't know. It might be. I think what will drive this, once better interfaces, new novel interfaces, how we interact with computers, more unobtrusive interfaces will become, so that we do not have to log in or go to the computer, so that we can participate in the virtual world while on a bus or train or wherever.
Right. About the interfaces, I had a question as well about the interfaces. Do you think that the current interface with a human to computer or human to machine is deprecated, and we need to go beyond that, such as analyzing already human brain activity in order to represent ourselves and to interact with the human and with the machine?
Again, research there has happened already, and it's happening, right. And I think it is very important. I don't know how much for serious games, probably for serious games for education as well, but especially for people with disabilities that, for quadriplegics, for example, that cannot move anything, there have been experiments with success stories where people with implanted sensors can move prosthetic arm or some other devices. So I believe so.
Right. Thank you very much. It was great honor having you here. I want to present you with the CyCon mug.
Thank you very
I
much.
hope you will enjoy the tea from it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.